How we doing, everybody? Luke Dancy here, joined by Mark Calabrese. I don't know what he's looking at, but here we are.
I can't say what I'm looking at. It's not appropriate.
How are you, man? Good to see you.
Good man, good. Just living the dream.
What does that mean these days?
Talking to Luke Dancy on a
Oh,
daily
you shouldn't
basis.
have. You shouldn't have. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I've had the pleasure to know Mark Calabrese for the better part of at least a dozen years, about 12 years, I'd say, if not a little bit more. And it's good to see you. But the people that don't know you, the reason I like to do this is one, I get to talk to my friends, and two, people that don't know you as well as I do, it gives them a chance to kind of get to know you a little bit better, your background and all that. So why don't
Right.
you let the guys know a little bit more about Mark Calabrese? We'll get into some questions and talk about some card tricks. Oh yeah.
Well, once again, my name is Mark, and I'm a magician. I started magic when I was 8 or 9 years old. I started professionally at around 17, 18 years old, maybe a little younger. I was doing some shows, but I didn't start doing it like seriously until I was about 17 or 18. And I like long walks on the beach. I like Thai food and magic. Oh yeah, but basically, I've been doing magic for a long, long time, and I've done every show you can imagine. Corporate, private events, barbecues, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings, and funerals. And I've also created some tricks along the way, and done some stuff, consulting, and done stuff for television. That's actually how Luke and I, you and I connected was online, and
Yep.
then further on was working together with Chris Angel, and you brought me on the team to work on some of the projects for that. So I've kind of done it all in the context of the magic scene. I've performed, I've created, I've taught, I've lectured. You name it, I've done it.
I called you a triple threat in our YouTube post. The reason I say that is sleight of hand, artist, creator of stuff, and also a performer. You perform this stuff, you create, but you're also just like really talented when it comes technically with a deck of cards. And I know that you've been studying Steve Forty stuff recently. I know you're really into like the hard stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like similar to you and I. I mean, one of the common bonds is that we love card magic and sleight of hand and different things, and I love all kinds of things, cards, coins, anything that sleight of hand related. I'm into. But I guess in the past, I don't know, even before we even like connected and met, I was always trying to work on the gambling stuff and the card cheating stuff, and that's something that I've always enjoyed, and over the past 7, 8 years, I've kind of really try to tighten and work on those kind of things. And of course, Steve Forty is a huge inspiration, and I'm a an idol of mine. But I do also love magic in the true purest sense. I love magic effects. I love things that are that defy explanation. It's not necessarily this is how a card cheat does what he does. I enjoy mystery, and I also enjoy comedy, and like my top five guys are Williamson, Bill Malone, Steve Forty, and then there's like, it's like those and Juan Tamariz, and there's certain guys out there who just, besides having crazy chops, they are also very entertaining, and that's what I kind of care about is being an entertainer more than anything.
Absolutely. And I've actually got some clips pulled up. I didn't show you any of these before we went live. So,
Lovely, lovely.
yeah. So, one of these is a great way to show you in action magically when it comes
Okay.
to the type of reactions that you're used to getting when you're out performing. And this is a girl totally freaking out. So, when I bring this up, I'll let you kind of talk about it and let people know what's going on. And it's just kind of like the normal thing for you when you're out doing your thing.
Okay. I think I know okay. I know this clip.
So, what's going on here? What's going on? Talk the guys
Okay,
through it.
so
Yeah.
basically, I'm actually at a gig working with a few close up and sleight of hand performers. We were doing it was a, I guess you could say it was a casino night. Like one of those like gambling nights where everyone gets chips, but there's no actual money being spent. It's all on like prizes and just the fun of the gambling with none of the risk of losing money. And I was hired to do some walk around magic, but also work out as a bust that dealer at some of the poker tables and blackjack tables. But what you're watching right now is these two girls who I guess for some reason they really liked my hair. I don't know what the hell it was, but they were following me the whole night. And you can't really hear the audio. And if you played it with the audio, people could hear how crazy it actually is. But the girl, the brunette in the video, I'm reading her mind. I'm doing just literally a birthday reveal, and I'm just telling her that she was born in September or whatever it was. And I think she was just a little inebriated, and because of that, she was freaking out, but making sounds that if anyone else was in the room, they either thought she was getting hurt or something was happening to her. So literally, it was an overreaction, but it was definitely a good reaction to get. And my friend is actually recording this because I think I had done a simple like pick a card trick with a top change, and she like, and I was like, oh shit, this girl's crazy. So I said, okay, let me really amp it up, and that's what you're watching. So her blonde friend was just more like there for moral support and to make sure that her friend, didn't die. So
I'm stopping it right here because I wanted to ask you a very honest question, Mark Calabrese.
Sure.
We're both magicians.
Okay.
People watching are magicians. Were you going for Alan Rorson's smoke right there? Were you thinking about that in your head? Because I don't know if that's even a smoke gimmick, but I was really wondering if that's a smoke gimmick that you were playing with there.
No. That was literally just me. It's not a smoke gimmick. It's just it was the pen that I wrote something down. I think I was writing down a prediction or something. It was just the marker that I had on me at the time. But no, I was not doing that. And if you, like I said, this video right here, literally she's freaking out in a way that if you heard her, you would think that she was either having, let's just say she was having a great time. Yeah, she was great. And we dated for like 6 years after that. I'm just kidding. No, that's not true.
It was only 3. Okay.
Yeah. Only 6 months. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if you the value to that video is if you hear the audio, it's a bit obnoxious.
Well, like I did listen to it earlier. She was totally freaking out. And a quick heads up to you guys too. I just want to throw this out there. Speaking of audio, a little segue here. I want to let you guys know that if you're watching this and you want to listen later, if you want to listen to this as well, we have our new podcast feature that you can listen to this stuff. And I got it right below here. We're on all your favorite podcast platforms now. That includes the Apple Podcast. You can even do Alexa. You can tell Alexa, play Murphy's Magic Unplugged Live. Latest episode will come up. So I want to let you guys know that if you are watching this and you want to listen later, you can listen to all the episodes we've done on our brand new podcast. You can listen on the go. Very excited to let you guys know about that because we are now everywhere. It's taken a little while, but very cool. All right. Danny Marsh wanted to know, Mark, any designs on floating into the sky with a fistful of balloons? I wonder why he's asking that.
I thought about it, and then I decided, you know what, this is more of a David thing. So I gave him I gave it to him. I was like, listen, bro, you can have this. Do with what you want. No, I mean, I watched a little bit of it, and it was pretty impressive. I mean, obviously David is a huge huge inspiration, and that guy keeps us in a weird way, keeps us relevant. Keeps magic cool and keeps it in the forefront. And while obviously floating in balloons is not magic, it's definitely magical. You don't need to be a magician. You don't need to do magic things to be entertaining and fun. And obviously in this case, it was, he's incredible. So that was a fun thing to watch.
True that, my friend. True that. I think one of your old friends here, I know you mentioned his name a bit when you were here in Vegas. David Corsero is tuning in.
Hello, David.
Or am I thinking of someone else? I think it's David, right?
David. Yeah, David's a very. I mean, I know David since I was 17, 18 years
old.
And and for all the good and the bad, he's made me the magician I am today. So if you like me, that's David's fault. If you don't like me, it's David's fault. But David's a very close friend.
He wants to know, speaking of through the good and the bad, right now things are kind of weird. I don't want to say bad, they're just weird. The quarantine, shutdowns, and all that stuff. He wanted to know, has the quarantine helped your creativity or has it shut it down?
So has it helped my creativity to shut it down? I would say that it's kind of done a little bit of both because, for example, I have more time to sit down and focus and work on things. And it's all across the board. We all have that where we're all having time to sit down and work on ideas, maybe practice things we haven't had the chance to, maybe explore different things. So I have definitely created some cool things during quarantine, using the Zoom or Skype medium of performing, and hopefully when things get back to normal, being able to perform, with real people. But I also, as a performer, I really rely on road work, like working for an audience and
Mhm.
practicing working ideas for real people. So because I haven't had real people to really work for, or very, very rarely have I had people to work for, it's been kind of tough to kind of really, um, you know, uh, uh, try out these ideas. I've worked, I had some multiple ideas coming to my mind, and I'm like, this is a great idea. I got to try it out, and there's no one to do it for. So there's a bit of both. I've been able to come up with cool things, but until I'm able to kind of really focus on doing it for a real audience, it's stifled it just a slight bit. If that makes any sense.
Sure. When it comes to creating stuff, do you have a process with that? A lot of people do, but they do it differently. And also, kind of a second part of that, when you create, do you create out of necessity, or do you create just random ideas pop up? Because as a performer, obviously, you're out there doing this stuff. So are you creating out of,
Right.
because you want to use this stuff, or because you just come up with these random crazy ideas?
So I think with me, it's kind of a combination of a few things. Like I've realized, let's say of all the things that I've come up with, out of all the things I've come out with, my best stuff has been kind of an accidental, creation. Like, this happened, and I is a happy accident, and I created something from that. There have been times where I've created things where it's like, okay, I want to be able to do this specific kind of effect. How would I do it? And sometimes, there's already a logical, established, pre-published method, and if that's the best method, great. If I'm not happy with the methods that are in front of me, if I can find a better method that works for me, or that works best, then I guess necessity is the mother of invention in that case. So it's like, okay, well, I need to be able to do this. Okay, is there anything available? I go through all the literature. I go through all the stuff that I could find. Oh, I can't find anything. So I guess I need to figure out a way to, solve my problems that I have. And then there are times where, like I said, I'm working on another idea or something that's been around for a long time, and then I find something underlying or things that maybe weren't fully explored, or I always try to take the direction of what's the next step that could be done with this. Like what's the next, what would be the next logical growth or evolution of whatever the trick might be. So to me, it's a matter of a mixture of both, of all those kind of things, and other sometimes it's just like, okay, you know what, I've been doing this version for a long time,
Right.
and I have a specific image or vision in my mind of what I want it to look like, and I try to go as close as I possibly can to that vision, and this really well, like when working with different mediums, whether it be TV, stage, close up, stand up, whatever it is, you have to kind of, you can use each medium to your advantage, to a certain degree. So I try to use what I have in front of me to do the actual effect or the image that I want. Like for example, David Blaine with the stunt that he did,
Mhm.
with the balloon stunt. I was watching like an interview he did on, I think, on the Today Show, and he was talking about, like, I had a very specific image, and the image was, I wanted to be a guy holding balloons, right? So I didn't want the parachute on him. It's like, well, that's a crazy thing to, like, not want to stray from, right? That, we all have compromises, and in that case, it's like I couldn't compromise my image, so he had to, like, he had to put the parachute on in the air. That's crazy to me, But
Yeah.
he's also very convict. He has his convictions, and he wants things to look the way he wants them to look, and that's how I treat my card tricks. But it is what I want to make sure that whatever it is that I'm trying to portray, whether it be a character or the kind of style, performance, whatever I'm doing, So yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, sure. And speaking of character too, I'm glad you said that word, because I've got a few questions lined up for you. And if you guys have a lot of questions too, I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I see a couple coming in. I'll get
Sure.
to those in just
Yeah,
a moment.
that's what, when you guys see me looking down, I'm reading other stuff too. So
Cool.
yeah.
Because we also have people on. I see you YouTube friends. I see you, and I see our Facebook friends too. When you mentioned the word character, why don't we talk just a very little bit about branding yourself as a magician? Because
Taking a screenshot. Sorry, I want to
uh,
remember this moment forever. Keep going. Keep going.
branding yourself, this is something that,
Right.
as a magician, people always kind of struggle, and sometimes they kind of run from who they are. And obviously, you've embraced that, and you're not afraid
Right.
of who you are. You've got your tats everywhere, and you've got the ink. It's like you're embracing that because it's a
Right.
showcase of who you are. You know, these things represent something about you, and you're not afraid of that. So when it comes to
Right.
branding yourself as a magician, from that perspective, what type of advice would you give people that are kind of in that they know how to do the tricks, but they don't know how to find who they are, or they're afraid to show
Right.
it? You know?
Um, so one thing that I guess I could say that before we even kind of come to that conclusion, you have to kind of analyze magicians as a society, right? Like we are inherently a nerdy group of guys, right? And I say guys, I know there's girls, but it's mostly a male driven, you know, I guess you could say group,
Yep.
but it's of course it's expounding on that, and it's evolving into all walks of life, which is amazing because there should be more women in magic. There should be more people of color. There should be more of everything in magic. Magic is definitely this amazing, beautiful thing. I would love to see. I love to see magic from other parts of the country, other parts of the globe. You know, different takes on things, different things. And when it comes to me, I think the most important thing that I learned was magic is not all that I have, or that, or if it's all I had to kind of kind of expose myself to more things than just magic. You know, a lot of magicians tend to kind of engulf themselves in just magic, and they don't have any other kind of exposure to to other art forms, whether it be music, whether it be literature, theater, movies, whatever. You know, like to me, if you have that kind of before you can kind of find who you are yourself, you have to kind of live your life in a way, you know. And unfortunately, if your life is strictly just card tricks or magic, your performances or your style or your character is going to be very one dimensional. You know, I love movies. I love television. I love I love characters, and by characters I mean by whether it be real people or imaginary people, whether it be characters in a movie or a TV show, or real life people, whether it be celebrities or whoever they are. I like people's personas, and I love watching. People watching is my favorite thing to do. So when I see people and I kind of think about the kind of performer I am, I say to myself, well, how can I create magic the way this guy would do it? You know, like his character, well, how he acts, certain things. You know, and the more you can expose yourself to comedy, to drama, to art, to all kinds of things, it kind of opens up the gates to you being, trying to find what you really like and what you really love. And listen, if you love magic, that's fine too. But I just think that if you love magic so much, you want to do other research to make the thing that you love so much better. And me as a person, I'm not really a character. I'm just who I am. I like to have fun. I like to bust chops. I think I come from a place where busting chops and kind of being a funny guy is like a defense mechanism, and it's the way to kind of relate to people. Like being a smartass is in my world is kind of like how people kind of get close to each other. And my friends always say, like, Val, if we don't make fun of you, we don't like you. So like that kind of attitude and that kind of thing comes out in my performances. So people enjoy feeling like you're friends. And I feel like when I perform people, I want them to feel like they're with their buddy, and their buddy is being funny, but also doing cool stuff. And my character, is just me kind of like, but I also have I have carte blanche to say and do what I want because it's in the context of a performance,
Mm-hmm.
So like, because obviously if I know you a long time, Luke, I can make jokes about things in regards to you that we get, right? And we're
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
But like how do you, the way to do that with someone that you just met, you have to kind of be able to joke with them, but also make fun of yourself and take a joke and give a joke. And there's a lot of ways that my kind of performance style works with the general public, because in a way they kind of know that this is theater. It's not real. But funny enough, you might even, I think you can agree that like when I'm not working, I'm kind of like a low key kind of person. I
Oh
like
yeah.
to have fun, but I'm also chill, and I like to talk about serious things, whatever. But ultimately, when it comes to the kind of performer that I am and the way I look, this is not something that like I like. For example, listen, I'll be honest. I've been given opportunities to be on television, America's Got Talent, different large platforms, that I was told if you just leaned in more to the New Jersey thing, or if you just acted a little bit more like a tough guy because you look with your tattoos, like I realized that like I'm not really that way, and if I have to like fake it, you're gonna feel it on television. You're gonna feel it, and that's not something that I want to do. Like the best performers and the best creators and the best entertainers are people that you can just feel like they're being themselves. And it's just a certain level of comfort that you have to have. and experience. I mean, for a long time when I was a kid, I used to care a lot about what people thought, and I used to kind of mold my image based off of what my friends were doing and what was popular at the time. And it was exhausting because it's like I don't wear that stuff because I like it. I wore it because all my other friends wore it. I didn't listen to that music because I liked it. I did it because all my friends were listening to it. And when I realized that, like, you know, I feel better enjoying myself. I'd rather have 2 friends that like me than 20 friends that like the fake me. So it's a constant journey. But ultimately, I've come to the point where and I think in the magic world, and I'm not saying it in a good way or bad way, but if you know me, you either love me or you can't stand me, and I'm okay with that because I don't want to be loved by everyone or hated by everyone because that means I'm doing something wrong either side. But if some people like me, it's because they relate. Some people don't like me, it's because maybe they don't like my opinions or maybe they just don't like my style. That's fine too. We're all entitled to our opinions. But yeah, that's how kind of I've made a brand or a label for myself as just being me. And if you like it, people love, and I think people really enjoy honesty, and whatever that honesty is, whether you're silly or weird or serious or whatever, people can feel when you're honest about yourself, whatever that honesty is. People don't like disingenuous people, no matter how down the middle you are. If you either have passion about something and you have people who don't agree, that's fine. That's just not your audience anymore. And then there's people that love what you do, and those are the people that you're probably going to enjoy the most to perform and work for. So yeah, that's how I'm able to kind of
Cool.
keep myself happy and relevant and performing and working.
Yeah. And that's why I asked, because we talked to a lot of different people, like John Miranda last week we talked to, more, specializing on the creative side these days, creating magic and
Right.
producing magic.
Yeah, makes great stuff.
And you do both, but your main full-time thing is you're a professional magician. So
Right.
that's how you make a living. So it's interesting to hear how you found your way, one, to stand out, obviously. But
Right.
two, and I've got some footage of you in action too from a couple of performances that you do. One that you did all the time. I hate to bring it up because I'm sure it's like something you miss right now. I'm talking about the Speakeasy. That's something that.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah. It was great. That was a great gig. Yeah.
And hopefully it'll come back after all this stuff kind of blows over or whatever happens
Right.
after this.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Hopefully,
I've got some footage of you from a TV appearance. I cut right to you here.
Okay, great.
You want to kind of talk about the environment that this Speakeasy is? I know we're showing footage of you performing there on a TV spot, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, the way Speakeasy Magic is the only way I can kind of relate it is imagine you're at a table with 13 people and you're in the center of it and you're performing for those 13 people. But while that's happening, there's 9 other tables with other magicians doing exactly the same thing. So what you're getting is these mini shows, 10 to 15-minute little sets. And when you're done, you get up and you go to the next table. So for the patrons, for the lay people that are there, they're having an incredible night of seeing up to about 5 different magicians. There's 9 of us, but you only get to see about half of us in the night. It's just because it's only about an hour and a half to 2 hours of the event. You get to see 5 different magicians who do 5 different sets of magic. You never see the same trick twice. It's an incredible night, and it's such a fun gig to do because it's your people are and listen, I love performing everywhere. I love performing at restaurants and clubs and private events, but a lot of the time, especially as a working magician, you're not an artist. You're not doing art. You are providing a service, and that service is entertainment. And you're doing cool stuff and making the party that was maybe a 5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. That's your job. Your job is to make people go, "Wow, Luke's party was so fun. Did you remember that guy did the magic? He was incredible." Like that's, oh my God, the food was great too. Blah blah blah. And it's an atmosphere thing. It's not just the magician. You're not the most important thing there. But in this context, the Speakeasy Magic, you are the show. Which, as a performer who's constantly doing bar mitzvahs and sweet 16s and weddings and corporate events, who you're there to kind of facilitate the party, you are the party, and people are there. And magic's always better when you have an audience that wants to see magic. It's like kind of like when you go to a restaurant and there's a singer there. You're not at the restaurant for the singer. You're there for the food. It's nice when the singer's good, but imagine if the singer sucks. It's a really bad night, right? It makes your decent night turn into a kind of crappy night. But if you're going to see a show and you're charging a high price point ticket, you're expected to see some good magic. And this show definitely delivers. There's some of the best magicians in New York have come, have come through. I mean, are there consistently. But then we also had some performers from out of town. Incredible, like Chris Korn, came in and performed. John Armstrong came in and did some sets. Jan Frisch, the FISM winner, did his set on stage. Jamie Ian Swiss is a regular there whenever he's in town from LA. So there's a lot of great performers that come in and stuff. And right before everything ended, we were supposed to have like Garrett Thomas was supposed to come in. There was supposed to be a lot of guys, and we're talking about prime time performers doing what they love to do. And on top of it, you choose the magic that you want to do. It's not just, all right, I got to do my same 15-minute sets, and churn out magic for the whole group. It's you can take your time and do cool stuff for people. So that was it was a great gig, and I'm currently treating it like it's not coming back just so that I don't get my hopes up.
Mm-hmm.
But the chances are that when New York City opens up back in the regular form and Broadway opens up and we're able to do that, I'm hoping that show will come back too, and I think it will. So I have faith that it will.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people keep saying, looking forward to when things go back to normal, but what the hell does that even mean at this point?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Every day, you're hoping for new good news, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Well, speaking of more positive things, not only are you a professional performer, you create magic, but you've also been on TV quite a few times. And I've got one thing in particular. Now, guys, I'm not able to show these clips. We're going to talk about some of this stuff, but I can't show fullest clips, and I can't show the Wizard War clips because we're going to talk about Wizard Wars. They want to block your videos. It's crazy these days, so I have to be careful. So I have a picture of you right here from Wizard Wars. This was your Malfoy days, I guess, from Harry Potter, the guy with the white hair.
I don't know what went through my mind there, but I was like, yeah, I wanted to do my hair white for some reason, and definitely Harry Potter vibes going on there. But yeah, this is a great experience that I had working with Wizard Wars. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. For those who are not familiar with the show, it was kind of like a Iron Chef with magic. You were given these props and these objects, and you had to figure out magic using said props and said objects. And it was two teams against each other, and then the two teams would compete. Whoever would win would go against the Wizards, and the Wizards were, I believe it was Greg Wilson, Justin Flom, Angela Funovitz, and Jason Latimer, I think it was, or Shimsky. I'm not sure. I think that it all changed up, but those are the main. There was always like a group of wizards that you would go against, and if you won, I think you won some money and something like that. I forget exactly. This is a while ago. But yeah, that my partner and I it was John Stessel. He's from New Jersey as well. So there was like Team Jersey. The only thing missing was like was like our fake tans, but we're real Jersey people. We're not down the shore Jersey people. So this was a clip where the objects that we were given was balloons, a leaf blower, and then we had a few other things that not in the clip, but we had a calculator and some other things. But this is a scene where basically I'm doing the lean. If those who are not familiar with the lean, but basically like the Michael Jackson 45-degree lean, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to, I came up with the idea of using the leaf blower to blow me over, and the balloon kind of thing. So that was a fun little clip. And funny story, when we were rehearsing it, I fell down like 4 times, cracked my nose like 3 times. But luckily during the filming, I was able to get it down and work well. So yeah. So and as you guys can see here, I did the balloon stuff before David Blaine did. So I need David Blaine's number. I need someone to call Austin Ring, call Daniel Garcia, because I want my check.
Yeah, you saw the comment. That's funny.
Yeah.
So Wizard Wars, and then you also did Foolist. Why don't you tell us about Penn and Teller Foolist, because that's it's still going. They're in their whatever season now. It's crazy, but tell us about.
I was on the first American season. Because before, for those who are not aware, but there was a season in England. That's when the show first came out, and then when they brought it to the States, I was in the first season, and it was a great time. It was a wonderful experience. Both, Wizard Wars and Foolist were both wonderful experiences. But of course, getting to perform in front of my idols, Penn and Teller, was incredible. And funny story. In the audience, because I wasn't as nervous as I don't really get nervous. I kind of just do my thing, and whatever happens, and I kind of block it out. But in this case, I wasn't even worried about Penn and Teller, because I'd met Teller a few times and we talked, and I met Penn a few times as well. But Teller, I considered, a friendly and an acquaintance kind of situation with him. So I felt comfortable. But in the audience was Tom Mullica and Amazing Jonathan sitting in the audience, and I caught, I think I saw Tom's hair or something. I was like, oh my God, that's Tom Mullica, someone who I idolized since I was a kid. And of course, Amazing Jonathan. So like, I immediately kind of like got scared and stuff, but then I was able to like figure it out and do my thing. But yeah, that was a great experience. It's definitely, something I think about. That was 5 years ago I did that. Yeah, I mean, it'd be wonderful to go on there again. And I did not fool them, but I would love to go back on there one day and see if I fool them, try again and fool them. But
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I loved every minute of it, and I did a card trick, but we did it Vegas style, so that was a fun time.
Yeah, it was cool. I've got a real talk. We're going to zoom in here. I got a real talk question for you. We're talking
Okay.
about performing, obviously creating. I know that you used something that you created and developed on the show too. Creating magic versus performing magic. If Mark Calabrese could only do one, I have a feeling I know what the answer is, but which one would you do? Create or perform?
Okay. On the count of three, we're both going to say what we think I'm going to say. Ready? On the count of three.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Perform.
Perform. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perform.
Yeah.
By a long shot. I mean, the fact is I love to create magic, and creating magic is obviously a passion of mine, and I'm always constantly thinking, like I can't turn it off. Like I'll be watching TV, I'll be doing other things, and I'm still thinking of ideas and for other premises and stuff. I can't watch a movie without going, that'd be cool as a card trick, or that'd be cool as an effect, or whatever the case is. But I love to perform, and my obsession is what I get off on is making people enjoy themselves and turning adults very lucid minded and shrewd people into children, by having a good, amazing time and seeing things that, like reality is so real. It sounds weird to say like that, but especially lately, we've been dealing with so much like real crap that's just heavy, and it always to make people feel good, and feel amazed, and to kind of be pulled out of reality for a moment, especially just in the simplest terms, it can really help somebody's day. So I enjoy having fun with people. I enjoy performing more than I enjoy creating, by a long shot, but I do love creating. So, but yeah, if I could only do one, it would be to perform.
All right. Very cool. Also want to give a shout out to someone that said you should get 10% of the YouTube thing Blaine did. Chris Oberly is watching today. I want to say hello to
Hi, Christopher.
Obes. I know
Hi, Chris.
he's actually in the
Hey,
trailer
buddy.
for a couple of those things that I was just
Oh,
showing.
yeah.
Actually, I think you guys
Yeah,
are hugging.
That was a
and-
good. Yeah. Well,
There
I
you
think
are.
that's the only time. Yeah, that's the only video you could show of us. There's many videos of us, but that's the only one you could probably be legally allowed to show. Yeah, there's a lot of hugging going on when I was in California shooting those videos with Murphy's.
Cool. And Chris was actually, I don't know if you know this or not, Chris Oberly was at the David Blaine thing today, like live. He was on location.
Oh wow!
Yeah, pretty
Oh
cool.
wow!
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
pretty cool.
I hope Chris Oberly can vouch for me in saying that he can talk to David personally and say I should get that 10%, whatever 10% of something. I don't know what, but yeah, I want 10%.
All right. Well, at least you're not being greedy, so that's okay. 10% is not that bad. All right. I'm gonna run through a couple live questions real quick, and then we'll.
Sure.
I don't want to have the guys. I don't want to leave them hanging here. But first question coming in from Mark Wybrow on the Facebook is: what is Teller like to meet in person? The Teller from Penn and Teller. What's he like in person?
He's a sweet, normal guy. He's also from New Jersey. Like, he's just kind of like, he just talks like this and is, well, yeah, very smart guy. It's almost like being around him. You feel like you have to rise to the occasion. Like you feel like you're in a room with. I mean, if Teller was not a magician and whatever else he'd be doing, he'd be excelling and a genius at that as well. He's kind of in a weird way misusing his intelligence by being a magician. He could be a rocket scientist, if he wanted to, but he loves performing in magic and the theater so much. But yeah, he's a sweet, very nice guy, very intelligent guy. And simple. I mean, I fooled him with a couple of card tricks, which is not saying a lot because he's a stand-up stage guy, but like, he made me feel like I was like the best magician in the world, because once again, growing up with this guy, you feel like you're in a room with, with a giant, and he doesn't make you feel like you're smaller than him, which is a great,
Cool.
which is a sign of a good person. So he's a great
Yeah.
guy.
Continuing the convo with Penn, this time Penn and Teller, John, Jan wants to know, what is the most effective thing to use to fool Penn and Teller that you would think people, if they want to go on the show, maybe just some general advice on, going on that show?
So my general advice about the show is not to try to fool them. If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
The platform that you have, right, of being on television is depending on what your goal is, of course. But as me, as a performer who wants to get shows and work and perform for a living, the point of that is to be able to say that I was on Penn and Teller Fool Us, and to show you in the best light possible on the show. So, for example, if you're a funny guy, or you're an entertaining guy, or you do cool magical things, you want to show the best and the coolest thing you can do, so that when you do get booked, hopefully, but for people that watch the clip, they can go, "Wow, we want the guy that did that. We want the guy that acted this way," or whatever the case is. I've gotten a lot of work from the show just because I get to say that I was on it, but also they get to see me doing, the cool stuff. So I think, in a weird way, and I'm even saying this is what I was told by the guys that are on the show. Like, the point of the show when it first was created was not to try to fool Penn and Teller. It was just to get Penn and Teller's idea was, let's show off cool magic from cool magicians doing amazing things on television. And of course, TV is TV, right? So TV, there needs to be a hook. So TV was like, well, we already have a show like that, okay, well then let's make it about competition. Well, we already have America's Got Talent. All right, well, let's combine the two. Great, it's a new thing, and now it's really about showing off cool magic and amazing entertainers, and that's the real focus. So if you get on the show, don't even worry about fooling them. If you fool, that's great too. If you don't fool them, it doesn't matter, because let's be honest, if you get on there and people go, "Oh, you were on Penn and Teller Fool Us? Did you fool them?" My answer to them is always, "Oh, you should go look at the clip and see what happens." And really, at the end of the day, you're still a better magician than anyone that they've ever met that's not on the show, because you're on the show. So that's just my personal opinion. But of course, when it comes to fooling methods, what fools a magician does not, what fools a magician also fools lay people, but not in the same way. What fools a lay person doesn't always fool a magician. But I personally believe that you should entertain people and entertain an audience. And I'd much rather get from Penn and Teller, "Wow, that was an amazing, funny, incredible show that was so entertaining," than to say, "You fooled us." It actually would mean less if they went, "You fooled us. It was boring as hell, but you fooled us." Like, it's the wrong goal, in my opinion. The right goal is to entertain and to astonish, not to fool.
Cool.
And Penn and Teller will be the first ones to say that. Penn will be the first to say that, actually.
Cool. I want to give you some love here too. Jim Spinato, I don't know if you saw this earlier. He says that your lecture at NIMCon kicked some ass. So yes.
Well, thank you, Jim. Yeah, that was a fun time. I was brought in last minute to do a lecture. One of the other performers, I believe Asi Wind came down he got sick or something like that, and I came in last minute, and I was like, "Oh, great. I got no small shoes to fill, filling in for Asi Wind." But I had a great time, and everyone was really fun, and cool. I enjoyed hanging out with other magicians from that area.
Very cool. And speaking of lectures, I know that nothing's been officially announced, but we can't even travel right now, so I think I'm probably going to have to wait till the following year. But Mark was actually one of the guys representing the U.S. at Blackpool this year in the competition, and they liked him so much. I'm gonna pat your back here for a second. They liked him so much they actually invited him to come back the following year, which would be 2021, to lecture for thousands and thousands of magicians from all over the world. So it's pretty rad.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. I was very. I mean, it was a great experience to represent the United States. There was 5 other performers from Korea, from the Netherlands, from Italy. I'm sorry, from Spain, and from Israel, and then I'm missing one. Oh, England, duh, and then me. And I believe, it was such a fun time. And immediately after, I finished. I did not win, but the guy that won, Do Ki Moon, he was incredible. He had a great act, very, very tight act. They approached me like, "Hey, listen, man, we love what you did, and we would love to see you if you have a lecture and to do a one-man show." And they, kind of booked me on the spot. They were like, "Hey, we want you to do all this stuff for us next year." And then COVID happened. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because if Blackpool does not happen this year, I'll be there the year after that. So I'm either there Blackpool 2021 or 2022. But either way, I should be there the next time it happens.
Sounds good. Sounds good. When it comes to things in 2021, I know we can't predict the convention scene, but we can get to know a little bit more about you with releases, possibly. Daniel Rex says, anything new to expect in 2021 from you, from the creator side of things?
I have a few things in the pipeline. I have a few downloads. I have a lecture coming out as well. So there's a few things that are coming out. I'll be honest. I've kind of not taken a step back, but I'm definitely not prioritizing the creating aspect of things, and I'm just kind of been focusing a lot more on the performing aspect of things. And really, my main goal is to get back and perform for people. Which, like I said, like you said, you can't predict that, and who knows when that's going to happen. But that's like the main focus for me. But once again, like I come up with things, and I have notebooks here full of stuff and ideas that I just kind of write down, and concepts that I'm working on, and eventually when those things kind of become cohesive and full on ideas, because sometimes when you have little seeds of things, the biggest mistake a performer or a creator can do is kind of push things out because they need money. You want to create stuff, and you want to sell your magic or release things when it's ready. And I think what's more important to me is to perform those tricks that I create, get a lot of hours into it, get a lot of road testing, and then when it's ready and when I'm done using it, to offer it out to the community. So there's definitely some things coming out, but
Cool.
We'll see what happens.
Outside of Magic, there's two things I'm going to say here. But outside of Magic, this is something I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware of, and they probably should be, because a lot of people are keyboard warriors these days. You also kick ass. It's not just a nice thing to say. Greg Williams knows a little bit about you. He says, are you still getting in the ring / octagon? Why would he be asking you that, Mark Calabrese?
Well, I've wrestled since 5th grade into high school and college, and I did a lot of mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But unfortunately, it's something that I have not done in about a year and change. Yeah. Mostly because of my schedule for performing being so kind of rigorous that I don't know if anyone here has ever been punched in the face. It's not fun, and my nose is already crooked as it is from fighting and getting into fights and working, training, mostly training. But this is the moneymaker, and I can't be messing it up anymore. Also, like jamming fingers and hurting yourself from training. The priority is, I have rent, and I have to have I have to prioritize that. As a performer, that's kind of the priority. I still work out, I still train, lifting and stuff like that. But for the most part, I haven't really touched on the mixed martial arts or the fighting aspect of things in a long time. I miss it, and I think that eventually, when things get back to normal, I might pick it up again. But once again, like when things get back to normal, my schedule goes back to normal, and by normal I mean very busy. So it's kind of a catch-22, because now I have all the time in the world, but I can't train like that because it's social distancing and such. So, but yeah, I did that for a long time, and if someone doesn't like my magic, so.
Speaking of people that do like you, I was having a chat last night. You popped in for a little bit too on the live chat that we were doing. After you left, someone said something about you that is worth noting here, because it's something I think a lot of people that look up to you. We have younger people watching, older people watching. But Steve Mayhew, who's just a legend in his own right.
He's great.
He said that a little while back, you were working on something, and you reached out to him as far as crediting goes to make sure that you weren't stepping on any toes. And he was actually surprised by that. Not that because it was you, but just because he feels like these days people they're not really taking the time to do that, or they don't even care.
Right.
The crediting side of things is very important. So I don't know if you want to say anything more about that, but it was nice to hear that. Steve's
such an incredible. He has great material out there. He's got chops, and he's really funny as well. And he's someone that's kind of very underrated in the magic scene, and but he's great. And I think what he was talking about was I came up with an idea. It's something that I've been using for years actually, and I came up with something. And then most recently, because I was going to put this idea into a lecture, because I figured it'd be nice to kind of show people this idea, and someone was like, "Oh, you should look. Steve Mayhew has that in his book," and I was like, "Really?" So I looked it up, and he has a very similar idea. It's similar in the sense that it uses a lot of. It's almost like we're both driving Lamborghinis, but his is blue and mine's yellow.
Mm.
So there's not much of a difference in it, but difference enough that that I was like, I'm going to talk to him about it, because if he's not happy, he's published this. I forget how long ago he put out the book, but I was like, I need to talk to him about it. So I said, hey, listen, man, I had this idea. I heard that you had this similar concept, and I wanted to, I was intending on putting this in the project, but I can 100% not put it in because I don't want to step on top of what you have. And we talked about each other ideas. He goes, no, man, it's you probably have some cool ideas with it. Please put it out. It's great. And I said, of course, I'm going to credit you and whatever, and I'll direct them to your book. John Lubbock wrote the Steve Mayhew book. What it's called, What Women Want, which is funny because it's it's not card tricks, it's different other things, but it's such a good book. Anyone that loves card magic should pick it up, and it's in there. It's a great idea, but ultimately I think what he cared about was that I took the time to ask, because unfortunately in the magic world, not a lot of magicians like to take magic and go up with it, take it up. They like to kind of look out for themselves. And to me, I want to pay respect to people who've done things before me. And it happens. Sometimes it happens where you have, linear thinking and independent creation, but you have to honor those who cannot come out with it first or came up with it first. So in this case, I just said, hey, listen, Steve, I had this idea, and he was very gracious in letting me do my version of it. And like I said, he thinks it's different enough that I didn't have to even ask him. But I was like, no, it's definitely close enough that I would feel comfortable to ask. And if you said no, I would be more than happy to not put it in.
Right.
So in this case, yeah, I think in the magic world, you have to focus on taking magic as a whole up versus just filling your pockets or whatever. And magic, because there is no, you can't sue someone, right? But magic is a self-policing kind of industry or community. If I take something that Luke Dancy put out 10 years ago and I just use red cards instead of blue cards, it's not enough to change it. And even if I came up with it on my own, you have to pay respect in that way. And let's just say I put it out, Luke Dancy could just be like, well, that's not cool, man. And then anytime I ever put something else out, there's a stain on your name. And and that's really all we have in this industry is our reputation and our name. So if you kind of muddy it up with acts like doing things like that, it's not cool. Funny enough, in other industries and other businesses, it's kind of okay. Apple does it to Samsung, and Samsung does it to Apple, and and everyone steals each other's ideas and raises the bar higher. But in magic, it's not. No one wants to do that because you're an artist. You want to create your own thing. But two, it's also very ugly to do. It's like what's the point? So yeah, Steve's a great guy, and I'm glad that he was gracious, and I'm happy to hear that he said something nice about it, because like I said, it was just me just making sure I cross the T's and dotted the I's.
Well, to kind of wrap things up here, I'm going to jump back over to this shot because maybe a little advice you can share. Mark wanted to know, if you do come up with an idea, how do you know it is unique if you can't find it in a book or seen it before? So why don't we talk about when you want to try to do the right thing, what are the steps to take when it comes to crediting and making sure that you're trying to do the right thing, even though it's kind of hard to do that sometimes?
Right. So my opinion is to ask as many magicians as possible, right? Because the fact is that I have a small group, a think tank, if you will, of guys who, when I have an idea, I bounce it off of them. And it's not like magic's this one kind of community in which there's a lot of, shoulder padding, but self-shoulder padding. It's like, let me show you this cool thing I learned, and I'm just going to show you guys so you can say that's cool, not so that you can be critiqued or to make things better. Magic is unfortunately one of those art forms or crafts that's a very, very, very weak-skinned performers and creators and people involved. There's been people that show me stuff that isn't really good at all, and they'll say, what do you think? And I'm gonna say, well, I'll tell you what I think, and then they get offended. and the fact is that like I'm not saying it to hurt their feelings. I'm saying it because I want, for the sake of Magic, to be better, and also maybe if they're my friend, to look out for them. But in the context of how you can come up with an idea and make sure it's unique, you have to kind of bounce it off of people. And the point of this think tank is to do exactly that. Here's this cool idea I came up with. What do you think? And someone might go, "That's cool. I saw a guy do this. Okay, interesting." Then I go in that direction. Of course, independent research is to be done as well. There's a lot of online ways that you can do that. Whether it is on just Googling something, or I believe Dennis Bear has his Conjuring archive, and the Conjuring Art Center has their database. I mean, I go on Murphy's Magic all the time and just type in keywords of things, and I go, oh, let's see what else someone else has put out or done. And if it's out already, then I could use their references that they might have quoted or credited to. So there's a lot of ways to do it. And ultimately, there's times where you just won't find, you might be like, wow, I found very, very, very little, and it's happened to me. I put out a release that the method itself was very unique. And someone said, oh, there's a guy that has a version of that, not published. And I had to talk to him. I was like, hey, listen, man, I heard you have a method similar to mine. You said it's something that's not published. Like, is that true? If it was published, I'd like to know. Even if it's in a booklet that you sold 20 of, it's published. There's 20 guys out there that know about it. Oh, it's not published. Okay, well, I'm looking to put this out eventually. What do you think? And I came to the agreement that as long as I give him credit to some kind of degree, that he was okay with it. But like, it happens, and there are times where there's 20 references and you reference 19 of them, and that 20th guy, what'll happen is that 20th guy will go, well, he did his research, I mean, as hard as best he could. He missed one. I don't think it'll be an issue. Of course, there's a big difference between going like, well, I did a reference and I saw that you have it and I did it anyway. If there's things that are out in the market, or that the person's still around and he's still profiting, or she's still profiting off of said release, you gotta contact them and talk to them. And sometimes you have to kind of bite the bullet. If they say, listen, I'm not comfortable with that being put out for X and Y reasons, you have to honor that. And there's really no other way to do it besides honoring that. And it's happened to me. I mean, I have a couple notebooks of ideas that like I have to just sit on because someone got there first, or has a better version or a similar method, and they're just not comfortable with me putting it out. So you can't do anything. You can't do it. But yeah, you just have to kind of consistently be doing the research. And if you don't ask first, it's better to ask first and then to apologize than to just do it and then apologize later. People leave a very bad taste in people's mouths. So all I could say is do your possible best, but don't take. Also, let's say, for example, if I contact Luke Dancy, I text Luke Dancy and I say, hey man, I have a trick similar to your idea, and you don't answer because you didn't see it or whatever. Not answering is not permission to do it. You know what I mean? You need that person to say explicitly, yeah, man, no problem, or no, man, no. So and if possible, getting it in writing is also nice too.
Yeah, and I'm going to come back to this shot real quick because we've got one really nice comment to kind of get us out on here. The Skull Inside. This is the guy who on YouTube says, Mark is the most honest and sincere magician I've heard of in a while. Open and straight to the point. I wish more people were like that. I will agree to that, which is why Mark and I have done stuff together, and we've gotten to know each other better over the years. And I can attest to that personally from knowing you outside of this space too. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, it's really I'm not a good liar, and I'm too lazy to try. So I'd rather just be myself. And if you don't like it, whatever. If you do like it, that's great too, and I'm more than happy to interact with folks, who are like-minded that way. But I'm also very happy to talk to people who I love to debate and talk about things and work and grow. So,
yeah. Well, before I let you go, I want to make sure that if people want to keep up with you, any of the social platforms, I don't know where everybody is these days because there's so many different places.
Right.
If people want to keep up with you and find you, how can they do that?
So yeah, Facebook, obviously, just Google Mark Calabrese, that's me. And then, also, Instagram, I'm on, it's, Magic Mark 52, MAGIC MARK 52, like playing cards. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm on those two main platforms. I have a website and stuff. So yeah, just, look me up, and I'm not hard to find. So you can definitely find me everywhere.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I know I appreciate your time. I know everyone else does as well. We've had a lot of nice comments coming through throughout this too, both on Facebook and on YouTube. But it's been fun, catching up with you. And I know we'll wrap up after we close up shop here. But thanks for hanging out, man. I know that it's been fun to watch your journey, and I know it's not even close to being done, but it's been fun to watch you take magic and make it your own. Because
well, thank you. I mean, whether you agree or not, I mean, my journey involves a lot of people, and Luke Dancy's one of them. You gave me an opportunity a long time ago to gave this weird kid from Jersey opportunity to do some cool stuff with magic, and my first major release was with the help of Luke, yeah. So I consider Luke a very close friend, and I'm only doing this because I'm his friend. I got no payment for this, even though I heard everyone else got payment. I didn't get paid. But it's because I love Luke Dancy. That's a joke. No, I do love Luke, but I thank you for having me. And like I said, I hope everyone had a good time. And if you didn't, this is free, so I'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? You have to pay for it.
Fair enough. Well said. And again, if you guys do want to listen to this or any of the past episodes, because I know a lot of you have been watching this from the beginning. And Mark, don't leave yet. Don't leave. Hold on. Don't leave.
I don't know what I did.
We're looking at the chair, the invisible man. I just want to let you guys know that we are on all of the podcast platforms that are out there. Just do a quick search for Murphy's Magic Unplugged Live, and you will find us out there. You can literally say to Alexa, play Murphy's Magic Unplugged Live, and Mark will come up probably tomorrow, because it takes a couple hours for it to go up. But I want to let you guys know about that too. We are on all the podcast platforms. Every interview is there too. So, all right, guys. Well, from me and Mr. Mark Calabrese, we're going to get out of here. Stay good, stay safe, be good to each other, and we will catch you all next time. Take care, guys. See ya.
Bye, guys. Bye.